In this video, we'll be going over 10 of the most unique Covenant abilities that we've heard about from Blizzard so far. None of these are finalized yet, but I thought it'd be fun to talk about the idea behind most of them anyway. And at number 10, we have the overall ability for the Necrolords, meaning that no matter what your class is, if you ally yourself with the Necro Bros, you get this ability, Fleshcraft. This ability is a defensive cooldown that builds a shield around you made of flesh and bone. Now, this on its own is nothing really special, but what makes it unique and worthy of putting on this list, I believe at the number 10 spot, is its secondary effect, which when used near a body allows you to consume it, to give you a shield absorption, which is much like the undead racial ability, allowing you to consume a corpse out of combat to gain HP. This being one for all races and being a shield makes it quite special, because it will actually be kind of useful, as many raid bosses come with ads, dungeons are filled with ads, world content is nothing but ads, and PvP? Well, maybe not so useful there. And at number 9, we have the priest ability Mindgames, an ability which is granted to the priest when they join the Venthyr Covenant. This ability assaults a target's mind, dealing shadow damage to them, then it twists their perception of reality for some time, causing the next damaging attack they do to instead heal the target, and the next healing ability they do to instead damage a target. This is quite an interesting ability, with some uses in PvE, although I'm sure Blizz will limit it. It could allow for a priest to cause a massive boss attack to transform into a heal on their tank, or a mob casting a heal to instead kill their ally. For sure this will have limits, but it is a very interesting concept, and will be hilarious to see in PvP. Low HP Destro Lock or Fire Mage raring up a big hit Chaos Bolt or Pyroblast and you see this, suddenly you just got a big healing chunk instead. Paladin low HP and about to use Lay on Hands, pop this and now they just killed themselves. This ability will be so much fun for trolling in PvP and some possible synergies in PvE, so this one deserves to be on the list. Then at number 8, we have the Night Fae ability for Demon Hunters, the Hunt. This ability is a lovely homage to Illidan's The Hunt ultimate ability from Heroes of the Storm. First, it allows you to charge an enemy, dealing damage and rooting them. Then they are marked, making your Demon's Bite for Havoc, Shear for Vengeance, give you bonus Fury when used in the marked target for 1 minute. Every 30 seconds you can reactivate this Illidan-like ability to leap to your target, appearing behind them, even ignoring line of sight. No one will be able to escape it. Even running and hiding inside of buildings or behind walls will not stop the hunt. This ability seems very fun and has some interesting gameplay perspectives. A shadow step that can be used outside of line of sight. In PvE, I don't really see a use for it, but for PvP, this sounds like it's going to be quite the funny annoyance. You see the Demon Hunter, hide behind a pillar to heal, and then boom, Demon Hunter on your back. Now, for number 7, we have Divine Toll, the ability granted to Paladins of the Kyrian Covenant. This one is super simple. All it is, that on use you cast your most basic ability on several nearby targets. Holy Shock if you're holy, Avenger's Shield if you're protection, and Judgment if you're retribution. All 3 of these have pretty good synergies, like how for Prot Pallies each shield will hit an enemy and then bounce to 2 more targets, creating a swarm of ricocheting shields. Or using this Judgment effect, then causing all the enemies around you to take extra damage for your next Divine Storm, among other effects caused by these abilities. I can't wait to hopefully see flurries of shields on live. And at number 6, we have the Druid Kyrian ability, Kindred Spirits. This ability only works when you have allies with you, and it's like a much easier to balance symbiosis ability. First, this bond must be placed on an ally, then allowing you every minute to activate a 10-second buff that both of you get. It grants you a buff based on their role, and them a buff based on your role. A DPS player, for example, will grant the other player an increasing primary stat buff, based on how much damage they deal, constantly growing in value as they DPS. A tank player will absorb a massive chunk of damage taken by the other player, sacrificing themselves for the other, allowing a tank to take damage for an important low health ally, like a healer. And a healer, by healing, will do extra passive healing to their target, allowing some single target heals to become a cleave heal, or a raid-wide heal becoming a massive single target heal. This allows them to pretty easily heal their specific ally for a hard burst of survivability in tough situations. It reminds me a lot of the original Dark Intent buff that Warlocks used to have in Cataclysm. And at number 5, we have the Necrolord ability Abomination Limb, granted to the Death Knights. Short and sweet, you just grow an extra arm for a limited time, dealing shadow damage to nearby enemies. However, if an enemy is farther away from you, they are pulled to your location by this third arm. A constantly spamming death grip, this sounds super fun and interesting in the fact of how it may work in fights, and how it can be used, a way to constantly move targets who just do not like to move. A caster keeps casting, pull them again and again and again with this ability. Could also be quite fun to use in PvP to annoy some Destrolocks or Fire Mages trying to get off their big spells. And at number 4, we have Deathborne. This mage ability, yet again for joining the Necrolords, allows the mage to transform into a skeletal mage for a bit. While in this form, their Frostbolt, Firebolt, and Arcane Blast are greatly empowered, allowing them to hit extra targets as well as their overall spell damage being increased. Pretty basic concept-wise, but in the manner of a mage transforming into a lich-like skeletal mage, it's pretty amazing and is just fun in the aesthetic value in of itself, embracing the Necrolords and becoming a lich-light. While some DPS cooldowns might put a little spell effect around you that will make your hands glow a little extra, this one physically changes you into a skeleton. Similar to how the Deathbringer's Will trinket used to transform you back in ICC. And a lot of people wanted that trinket just because it transformed you into something else. So aesthetics in the DPS cooldown are definitely something people want. And at number 3, we have the Conquerors Banner, a Necrolord warrior ability. This ability has 2 uses. Its first use is you don the banner, carrying it into combat for a few minutes, increasing your movement speed. It also causes your Shield Slam, Raging Blow, and Mortal Strike to grant you glory. Killing an enemy also gives you glory. Then the second use is while you have your banner out, you can use the ability again to plant it in the ground, granting a max health and attack speed buff to you and your allies within the banner's radius. Its duration increased by how many stacks of glory you have up to a max. It really is amazing, a warrior leaping charge for the glory of their covenant, charge into battle and cutting down foes, only to plant the blood-coated banner to inspire and empower your allies in combat. A purely epic, aesthetic ability, worthy of the warrior class. And at number 2, we have the Karrion Hunter ability, Resonating Arrow. This ability acts very similar to the Hanzo arrow from Overwatch. Firing this arrow into the sky will then land at a target location, where it will then mark the area around the arrow, allowing the hunter to shoot anyone in that arrow's range with extra crit. And this allows you to shoot anyone. This means even those hidden behind cover. Acting like a wall hack, this hunter ability allows the gunner to shoot those even behind line of sight. Healer in arena behind a pillar trying to drink? Just use a resonating arrow and you can shoot them around that pillar. Trying to hide behind a wall? Suddenly the bullets are curving around that wall and hitting you while you're trying to res. This ability will be quite fun to see in PvP, although I do wonder if it will have practical uses in PvE. There are some current situations, like Jess Howler and Tal Dagar, being able to use his attack while hiding from flash daggers. There's also a few other fights as well, like Queen Ajara in the Eternal Palace, which was nothing but LOS mechanics, and Razan in Atal Dazar. The real question is, will this work with abilities that break line of sight, like Smoke Cloud, which prevent those from inside attacking things outside, and those outside from attacking things inside? This could allow you to ignore those as well, and because of these and so many uses, this ability needs to be on the list. I guarantee that this will be used in top arena play if it goes live as is. And at number 1, we have Convoke the Spirits, the Night Fae Druid ability. Upon casting this ability, the player goes into a rapid flurry of Druid spells. This eruption of energy is formed in a way of firing off 16 abilities in 4 seconds. That's like 4 abilities per global cooldown. Moonfire and Wrath for balance, Regrowth and Rejuvenation for Resto, Thrash and Iron for Asgardian, and Rake and Shred as Feral. The sight of a Boomkin firing off a barrage of lunar beams and solar bolts, a Resto Druid covering their allies in a layer of hots, bloodied waves of lashing from Feral, or a devastating defense for a Guardian. This ability is quite interesting, especially if you use it all on one target. I'd assume this would create a gigantic light show. This is great for some heavy multi-cleave or just a big burst of a single target, some group-wide heals, or self-defense. It really is quite the fun ability. Never before have we seen 16 abilities go off in 4 seconds. I almost wonder if this will lag some machines. I could see a 40-man raid of druids using this to cause easy crashes. Or probably not. I'm pretty sure WoW has this thing where only your class has all the flashy effects, and it dims down everyone else's. Alright, and that's the list. Of course, since we are in early alpha, we avoided talking about exact values and numbers, as those are very likely to change at any point. I'd also like to thank the editor, Felplague, for putting this video together. Link to all of their stuff will be in the video description. And did you know, only about 30% of people who watch these videos are actually subscribed to the channel?